Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks so much for joining us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. Substance abuse is the harmful use of mind-altering substances, including illicit drugs and alcohol. Substance abuse can lead to a dependence syndrome. The 2019 World Drug Report by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, states that globally 35 million people suffer from drug use disorders. Of these, only 1 in 7 gets treatment. In 2017, there were 585,000 deaths owing to the drug use, of which 2/3 were from opioids. There's the additional complication that many drug injectors live with HIV and hepatitis C. According to studies, the adverse health consequences of drug use are more widespread than previously thought. My guest is a consultant psychiatrist, the medical director and chief executive officer of Pinnacle Medical Services in Lagos. Dr. Memuna Kadiri, you are welcome to the show. Now, it looks as if none of the news is good, but we are convinced that something can be done about the problem. Let me start by asking you, what are the signs of somebody who may have started using drugs or is intending to use drugs? Because I understand that they go through some changes when they're even contemplating the use of drugs.
Yeah. So truly, and if we are looking at that, the signs, we are looking more to the youth, because that's where the major focus is on. Children, adolescents, and the age of even starting this is even getting lower and lower, and it's quite sad. So what is that first thing that every parent, guardian, teacher, anybody around should even watch out for? The first thing I always say, what has changed? What has changed in this child, or what has changed in this individual that is giving you concern or even making you worried? Is the person now more withdrawn to him or herself? Is the person now sleeping longer than how he used to, or he used to sleep before? So some of the basic things that we see in people that use substance, because there are changes from the different types of substances they use, but there are some basic signs and symptoms. Mood changes are there, sleep pattern changes are there, eating habits. So you find out that some substances that some people indulge in, it makes them eat more, like marijuana. You say quite a number of them, when you ask them why do they even use marijuana, like they will tell you 2 very classical reasons. It makes me sleep better, it makes me eat better. So you'll be wondering, but there are other alternatives to eat better? Yes, there are multivitamins, there are even other things. But they will tell you, no, you would not understand. So it's very easy for most of them to quickly tell you will not understand. And truly, if you are not doing drugs or you are not abusing drugs, you will definitely not understand. So those are some of the basic things. We don't always say, let's go to the very severe signs you start seeing where some of them are already on the street. By
that time, it's late. It's already so this is what I like. The signs that parents see.
Should watch out.
Something you can quickly nip in the bud before it becomes too serious.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the effects of these drugs on the health when people abuse drugs? And it's not just illicit drugs. Sometimes prescription drugs.
Exactly. In fact, prescription drug is even on the increase. So it's not just all the illicit cocaine, marijuana, heroin. Prescription drugs are also there, opioids and all that. So truthfully, the effects are enormous. And they are not just only physical medical conditions you see. We also have the psychological. So sometimes you find out that people that are doing drugs, they start acting out in some ways that... So I keep going back to the same thing. Change. What has changed in this individual? So you see, you find out that some people start having they start maybe that adding in weight or losing weight.
Okay.
They start
but this one on the screen, that's extreme, right?
That's extreme. So like for this person now, he's knocked out completely. It may not, if he should harm himself now or even harm somebody, he will not even know. So some of them will have some temporary, what we call selective amnesia. They don't even know what they did that period that they indulge in drugs. Some have even come to the extent that they start hearing voices or seeing strange things. So when psychosis now comes in, of course, before they even get to that extent, mood changes, either they are becoming very withdrawn or they become so angry, even get to the extent of throwing tantrums, become disrespectful. So you see a child that was ordinarily very calm and well composed and all that, start acting out, start missing classes, start telling you there's no need for him or her to do what he or she is supposed to do, even start neglecting personal hygiene.
Okay.
So there are tail signs that people should really, and there are warning signs. If you don't know these changes, or you are ignorant of these changes, that is when they get to that severe form, hearing voices, seeing strange things, becoming suicidal, even attempting to end their lives. So if there are drug abuse issues that are usually grouped under the mental and behavioral disorders, because there are a lot of behavioral changes that comes with.
Can you say that there's hope to handle such a problem? Are there strategies to wean somebody off drug dependence?
First strategy, let's go back to the family. I am so in tune with this family thing, because even if you get a drug addict and you rehabilitate, where does he or she go back to? To the family.
Back home.
So let's go back. If you want to really get the good strategy on managing or dealing on drug substance abuse prevention, it's to the community. So let us have community strategies to it. And that means the family is very much involved. Because the statistics we are giving is very alarming to also hear that 1 out of every 4 Nigerian drug user is a woman. And we know the role the woman plays in the family. And the woman is the one that carries the baby. The woman is the one that nurtures the baby. The woman is the one that holds the family together. So if 1 out of every Nigerian drug user is a woman, it's a crisis.
A very big crisis. That means 1 in 4 families probably doesn't have any maternal influence.
So if you are going to look at substance abuse prevention, it's a science, and we should see it that way. And we should work with evidence-based strategies in ensuring we get this much needed help that we need. Because if we use our gut feelings or just by observation, we wouldn't get it right. But when we use evidence-based studies, we can do what we call capacity building.
Okay. We
can professionalize drug demand reduction. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes when people are in distress, they go to the churches and in the mosques. And these people, they are not professional when it comes to substance abuse prevention. They preach spiritual awareness and religiosity.
So are you suggesting training them?
Training them, capacity building for them, because truly, if people go there and they're in distress, spiritual healing comes in, holistic wellness also comes, because they will now be able to help them see how they can refer appropriately. If they have the intention, they can go into the prevention strategy. But if they're already addicted, they can then refer appropriately to the right institution where they can get that help.
And who better than someone considered to be a spiritual father?
Exactly.
To get the person to go to the hospital.
Exactly. Because they act as role models, they act as mentors. So they are very key in this holistic approach to.
But we moved away slightly from the family. The mom sees the mood swings. Exactly. She sees the changes happening. I don't recognize this boy anymore. I don't recognize this girl anymore. You're acting differently. So what do?
So for that mother, don't be in denial. It's good for you to quickly say, okay, now I recognize these changes. It's not a spiritual attack. I need help. So, and that is where the society now comes in. When people come out to say they need help, let's actually have people there that are listening to them, not judgmentally and pointing fingers at them. Let this family come out and say, look, this help I need, get me somebody who will help us with this challenge, not bottle it up, because when you cover it up, the complications may never be reversible. So now it now comes to where do they go to for help? We have just very few, just 8 standalone psychiatric hospitals nationwide, very few in the other states, and very, very few privately owned. So truly, it still boils down to substance abuse prevention, because when it comes to the treatment, the resources are very limited. Yes, and they are scarce. We still have 1 psychiatrist to 1 million Nigerians.
But yes, million.
Yes, we still have 1 psychiatrist, and truly, every opportunity I have to preach this, I say it. Please, the 9th National Assembly should please pass the mental health bill and make it to an act. Why am I saying this to Nigerians that are listening? If we say 1 out of every drug user is a woman, so that woman plays a very vital role, right? When you look at the old act we are using in psychiatric practice in Nigeria, it states that if somebody is mentally ill, you should sell all his properties to treat that person. So are we not still going back to the poverty?
You put the whole family in jeopardy to treat one person.
And you know, substance use disorders are also part of psychiatric issues. And truly, they said from the UNODC report, 1 out of every 5 user has a substance use disorder. So we have 14 million Nigerians that are affected with substance abuse, as the report states. So 1 out of every 5 of them is already having a substance use disorder.
Does that mean dependence?
Yeah, substance use disorder. Dependence and anything that involves substance abuse, because substance abuse disorder are under mental and behavioral disorders. Okay. So it can be from the mild to the severe form. Dependency is there, tolerance is there, addiction is there. So now that means that person in that family, they should sell all the properties and manage that person or treat that person.
Okay.
So truly, if that mental health bill is passed into an act, I think we will have a head, because one of the things that was captured there is to eliminate that. We shouldn't say they should sell the family's property to treat that individual. So we need to still go back to the substance use prevention plan, whereby capacity building is intensified, professionalism is brought into it. Substance use prevention should be seen as a science, not as gut feelings, or they should use it as by observation. And of course, if it's possible, involve it in the school curriculum.
So now we're looking at a many-pronged problem.
Yeah.
Prevention is by far the best strategy.
Exactly.
But we already have 1 in 7 that is not getting any treatment.
Help. Yeah.
So like we have thousands
there.
But already there's the challenge of capacity.
Yeah. Human resources.
How do we tackle that?
Yeah. So,
particular.
Yeah, so we will say if we have 8 standalone mental health facilities, which are the very, to an extent, the very best for rehabilitation. Of course, people always view public hospitals as nowhere to go to. How many people are even equipped to have a privately owned rehabilitation center?
How about the private, the primary healthcare center?
Exactly. So now that 1% that was said that should be taken out of every state to use for the primary, this is where it's really needed. If primary healthcare centers are equipped, truly, we would not have a lot of these cases in the tertiary institutions like the psychiatric hospital, because they are actually tertiary institutions, not primary healthcare. And if somebody eventually gets to the tertiary institution for rehabilitation, they should have the well-equipped primary healthcare that they will go to for follow-up cases, where they can go for prevention training. Everything is just all coming to the tertiary, and they're overwhelmed.
And that means that people are waiting until it's late.
It's late,
to respond to the problem.
Yes, truly, and that is where the sensitization. So a lot of people are involved, but bringing everybody together to work. So it's multi-sectorial and it's multidisciplinary. And the approaches should also follow multi-sectorial and multidisciplinary approaches so that we can get it right.
Let's go for a quick break and we'll come back and continue with the discussion. Please stay with us. We are coming back shortly. Welcome back. Call 0808-054-2233 to ask questions about the drug abuse problem. You can also tweet at CTV_Mary A while we continue the discussion. Now, justice for health, health for justice. 2 sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. That's the theme. Yeah. What does that mean?
So, justice for health, health for justice does mean we need inclusiveness. Because oftentimes we see people that do drugs or people that have substance use disorder being criminalized. And criminalizing doesn't solve the problem.
Do they jail them?
Yeah,
they jail users?
So truly, if a user commits a crime, it's not...
He was under an influence
of substance. So they will not look at that, they will look at the crime. And that is the end result. But what about the root cause? Can this person actually go for a rehabilitation? And if that person goes for a rehabilitation, will it be better off? So it's not about criminalizing, because substance abuse has a lot of crime in it. Because people will kill just to swear their habits.
Others, yes.
We harm others under
and then
the
they
influence.
Use bad needles and get diseases,
which is a lot of HIV, hepatitis.
But let me ask a question. When a user is criminalized, maybe taken to jail, does it get drugs in the prison?
It's possible. Oh, wow. I'm sure you must have seen online where they even, I think I've forgotten the country where a bird was even used to send drugs to the prison. Yes, they do. But, those are things that are not publicly discussed. These are things that are not shown to say this is what is happening in the prisons. But yes, it's possible, and we've seen quite some cases where these things happen.
In effect, he could be fueling his habit and come out and just continue.
Yes, so that is why I head for justice for health. Get this person rehabilitated so that it will be a better citizen. The ultimate goal is to have healthy citizens in a country. It boosts up the growth domestic index. It has a whole lot to play. So sending them to prison where is another incarceration, they may go with one, maybe a mild mental illness, and get there and maybe severe.
I suppose this particular aspect is also covered in the proposed health.
Yes, the mental health bill. The mental health bill, it covers a whole lot, and it covers also the other sectors. It's not just mental health, disability, substance abuse, involves all the people that need to be there. When you talk about mental health professionals, we are not talking about psychiatrists alone. People also get it wrong.
Social workers
are there.
And we don't have enough of them.
And there's people that go to the communities, that help. People that are involved in mental health professionals, they are the counseling psychologists and clinical psychologists that really need more. Of course, there are other aspects of psychologists that are educational and organizational. But for that purpose, we have the nurses, we have the pharmacists. Everybody should be involved. And this bill, if passed, truly will make a huge,
okay, that brings me to the traffickers. Those ones are the criminals, actually, in all of this. What suggestions do you have for stopping or at least reducing traffic? I think traffic has increased, and that is why dependence has increased.
So when we talk about demand reduction, we say, okay, let's go back to the root. Family is involved, schools are involved, religious bodies. But when it comes about supply reduction, truly the government has a very important role to play, because when charlatans get into drug supply, they don't see anything, they see only wealth and prosperity. So if government can put in those laws that must be implemented, so truly we have, I'm sure those laws are there, but it's implementation that is really the challenge. If they are properly implemented, so that when it says that if you do drugs, you face 10 years imprisonment or is dead by hanging, very stringent laws that when you think about the repercussion of you doing drugs, you know what is happening in Saudi Arabia, you know what is happening in some of these nations. So if you bring drugs to their country, it's dead by hanging. There's no discussion about it. If we bring some laws that are very stringent and people are already used as scapegoats, and people are already seeing that, I think that will also help in the supply reduction.
And then maybe man the borders a bit better.
More. And if drugs are actually seized and they are burnt, there shouldn't be that route where some will be missing or some will not get burnt. You know, there are so many gaps in the system that if nipped in the bud or tightened, we'll get some good results.
Now, there's this concern many people have. People have talked to me, told me about parties, gatherings where people go to, and they were not looking to get hooked to any drug. But it was slipped into a drink, maybe into food, and that's the beginning of the dependence. What I'm asking you for is, imagine a teenage girl, you know, this is the time they go to parties, they enjoy themselves. What advice would you give her?
It's happening. I'm not even imagining. I've dealt with cases. I've dealt with cases where they came into the country and then they went to the beach and they took cake. The girl took more than the brother, and then she started, doing like, oh, I want to enter the beach, and they're like, what did she eat? She said, oh, my sister took some of those cakes there. They said, oh, wow, that is marijuana and all that. So truly, parenting also now comes in. We have to advise our children what to do. Truly, when as they grow as teenagers, they were experimenting, they want to catch fun. And if you just keep covering them, when they eventually get that freedom, they will do worse. So you have to let them know what the good and the bad part of it is. Yes, it's not that you shouldn't have fun, but you should also watch out who you are hanging out with, where you are going to, and you should be mindful of what you eat. And if you, for any reason, you eat anything that you start feeling uneasy, leave that environment. But truly, who you move around with also.
Okay, so watch your friends as well.
Watch your friends and where you go to, and what you also eat. Because the peer influence will come. It's how they handle it that matters.
At least one thing I was taught as a girl, and I maintain till now, is don't leave your drink unattended.
Exactly, don't. If you leave your drink unattended, when you come back, discard it. No matter how tasty, you look for another drink. Don't be forced to, oh, just take it. It doesn't really matter. And your friends play a very important role. That's why I say with your circle of influence, you have to choose the right group of people. And the parents have to also know who their children's friends are, mind them, know what they do, how they interact. So in other words,
pay closer attention.
Truly, parenting we're getting it wrong. A lot of us are so busy dealing with the day-to-day hustles of life. We are not paying attention, forgetting that these are the future. These are our own legacy we want to leave behind. And if they are not successful, then we are going to have we are not going to be self-actualized. We'll be depression in the elderly is there.
Tell pregnant women what happens to a baby if they are taking drugs.
Truly, that at least I saw that in my med school like once, and it's very rare. You may be a doctor all your life and you never meet a case like that. When you do drugs as a pregnant woman, whether as common as cigarette and alcohol, but alcohol, you see that you have fetal alcohol syndrome. So you have the child, and at that point in time, nobody will know whether you were doing drugs or whatever. And with time, maybe a day, few hours later, the child starts having what we call withdrawal symptoms, because the time you used to always take, it has lapsed. Now the baby is out. So the baby start twitching.
The unborn child is taking the drugs with
the woman. So it's not, that's why they say alcohol, cigarette, don't do drugs while pregnant. So it's not about you, the woman. Your babies may come out with withdrawal symptoms, and you have to manage. So imagine a one-day-old baby being managed for withdrawal symptoms for drugs. Does it sound or look really
irresponsible?
Weird? But truly, it has happened. It's still happening. So we need to let the mothers know. And this statistic, I'm so alarmed, because if 1 out of every 4 Nigerians is a woman, and these women are the ones that bear babies, and if a woman is doing drugs and you have a baby that will have withdrawal symptoms. So from inception, you started managing that child. Because you have to manage that child.
But how long does it take to manage a child? Can you manage him such that when he grows up to be a boy, he's forgetting all about that?
No, of course, those things you forget. But that now means that, is that mother now being rehabilitated?
That's the thing.
Because it can go on. You discharge a woman, discharge the baby, they go home. Do you follow up?
And then she continues.
She continues and also gives. We've seen families where the father is drinking or the mother is drinking. They will say, okay, take it, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But it's a big deal because you are gradually damaging that child's brain. Because now you can't tell children say no to drugs, because they will ask you why.
Aren't saying no to drugs yourself.
If you are saying so, we are rather preaching, let's delay initiation to the use of drugs, because the brain of that child is still in maturation up until 25, 26. Delay initiation is better, because when they are already using before they turn, the brain is already formed, the complications may not be reversible.
Oh, thank you so much for coming to the show. Yeah. And good luck with that health bill.
We really will. Mental health bill, please, all Nigerians, arise. Let's make it an act. Yes.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's fight this thing together. We've heard it's a family affair now. Have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.